Hi, my name's Cam and welcome to AskMeI'mBipolar.com. Since today's Valentine's Day, I thought I would answer the question, how does bipolar affect your love life? Now you may have read my blog, A Case of Love Bipolar, which focuses on chemistry and science, so this video is going to focus purely on experience. Being bipolar does affect my love life. That I can't deny. If I'm with someone, unfortunately they get to experience my depression or my hypermania by proxy. Depression in a relationship can be really hard. The constant lack of motivation, low confidence, low self-worth, negative thought patterns. It's really hard not just for you, but for the person that you're with too. In my last depressive episode, I just constantly questioned why anyone would want to be with me. I just couldn't understand why anyone would want to be around somebody that was so miserable all the time, I guess. I completely believed that they would be better off without me. I thought that all I brought to the relationship was misery, pain. I didn't want to do that to somebody that I loved. And to think about it from the other side, it must be really hard to watch somebody that you love experience all that. To realise that no matter what you do, you're not going to fill that emptiness that's inside them. You're not going to make them happy. In my depression, all I wanted to do is sleep all day. I had absolutely no motivation. Every single movement felt like I was fighting my way through some kind of thick treacle. Even little things like going to the bathroom felt like climbing Mount Everest. It just absolutely exhausted me. I would go back to bed and then lie down and just sleep again. All day, in fact. I do want to point out here that when I'm talking about my last depressive episode, at that point in my life, I wasn't medicated and I wasn't managing my life very well and I wasn't using any of the coping mechanisms that I now use to keep myself on an even keel. If you want to know more about coping strategies, go have a look at the website. There'll be an ebook on there soon telling you all about the different coping strategies that I've discovered. So on the other side of things, then we've got to deal with mania or hypermania. This manifests differently in everybody and can be just as difficult. For me, mania or hypermania meant that my thoughts got faster and faster and faster and faster to the point that inside my head was just a complete spin. I couldn't pick out any one thought. That makes me a distracted nightmare for anybody that I'm with. It means that I can't really maintain conversations. I don't listen to anything anyone says to me. Not because I don't want to listen, but more because I really struggle to maintain the focus, to understand everything in the conversation. And then that leads to me being completely overwhelmed, which means after a while, my brain just kind of shuts down and then I go into like a disassociative period. In my last hypomanic episode, my disassociative period was just, I stopped feeling, basically. I stopped having any form of emotion. I couldn't bring myself to feel. And being completely emotionally numb, I just tried to focus everything on work and going to the gym because work was something that I knew I could do at the time, even though I was struggling with the focus and the attention span. But I was getting it done and the gym was the other thing, which just kept my anxiety levels down. That, for the other person, was probably the hardest thing. And it was really hard for me to watch as well. Especially after my episode was over and I realised the amount of pain that I caused from being so disassociative. That was horrible. That was inexplicably painful for all parties. Another problem that you can have if you're in mania or hypermania, hypersexuality. Now, I've done an entire video blog on this, so if you want to know more about hypersexuality, go have a look at that one. I'll link it in the description below. There are other things you have to think about as well if you're in a relationship and you're bipolar. Simple things like work, money, finances. If I'm going through a depressive episode or if I'm going through a manic or hypermanic episode, chances are sooner or later I won't be able to work. So I'll have a period of, well, for me it's 6 to 8 months where I won't be working, which means, in my case, as I'm self-employed, I'm not earning any money. That's really hard for anybody that I'm with because then they're either trying to sustain life financially for both of us, or I've got to a point where I can't go out, I can't do anything, I can't come out for dinner, I can't afford to do anything. At the end of the day, I don't want to be a financial pressure on anybody else. Sometimes it feels like there's just so many things to consider that I'll never have a normal relationship with someone, especially since they can't see inside my head. If I had a broken leg, then people look at it and they go, oh, okay, you have a broken leg, you can't walk, you can't do this, that's fine. But people can't feel what I feel, they can't see what's going on inside there. it's even harder for them to understand when they have no perception of what's happening. And one of the things that really drives me crazy is when people assume that my reaction to something is because of my bipolar. I'm a human being. I have emotions, I have opinions, and that's not to do with my mental health. That's just me. That's who I am. I'm an intensely emotional person, and I do react to a lot of things, probably more than I should, but that's just me. It's not mental health. Telling me, have you taken your meds, in the middle of an argument is going to send me under. The last thing that I'm going to mention, talking about relationships and love and bipolar, is anxiety. Anxiety for me probably plays the biggest part in my love life. Anxiety is that little voice in the back of my head that's telling me that everything is always wrong, that I'm terrible, that I'm useless, that I'm doing everything wrong in general, that the other person doesn't care, that the other person... It's just so negative. It's a negative voice that second guesses everything. And trying to explain that to somebody else is really difficult. I will always question everything. I will always assume the worst. It doesn't matter how good I get at managing these symptoms, that anxious voice is always in my head. And I don't listen to it anymore. I don't listen to it 90% of the time. But it's still there. You know, sometimes I look at it and I think, why would anyone want to be with me? Why would anyone want to be in a relationship with someone who has highs that reach the stars and lows that go past the Earth's core? Like, why would anyone want to be in such a tumultuous situation? Sometimes I think the other person could just see trouble, heartache. But then, you know what? Don't get me wrong. I know my self-worth. I'm a smart woman. I've got a good job. I work hard. I'm a good person. It's not that I think that I'm terrible. It's just sometimes that voice inside my head, it just goes crazy. It tells me everything that I don't want to hear. It tells me that you're not texting me because you don't care. It tells me that you reply in a certain tone or you say a certain thing because you don't want to be with me or don't want to be around me. It tells me that everything that I do is something that you would hate. I understand that this makes people feel like I don't trust them, like I don't believe anything that they tell me. And that's what I'm up against when it comes to things like this, because it's really, really hard to ignore that voice. Really hard. I get how irritating it must be to have to constantly repeat yourself, have to constantly reassure someone like me. I understand. I really do. Being bipolar definitely affects my love life. I'm never going to get away from that. It's part of who I am. I just intend to keep growing as a person and keep working and improving my coping mechanisms. I guess I'm also going to have to pray that somebody out there is really mentally strong, really overwhelmingly positive, and has amazing patience to put up with me. So what I want to know now is, what's your experience of mental health, relationships, and love? Write your story in the comments below and then let me have a look and I can reply. Also, go check out the website at www.askmeimbipolar.com and give us a like and follow on Facebook and Twitter. If you have a question, let me know either through the website or on the social media sites, and I look forward to replying.